Morning Indiana, working for you.
Good morning. The time right now is 4:27 here. We finally made it to Friday. Thanks for waking up with us on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey. We do have several top stories to get to before we start our show this morning, starting with some violence in the overnight hours, and this impacted a teenager. A 17-year-old was shot overnight around 11 o'clock last night. This happened on the west side near 10th Street and Beachview Drive. The police arrived to find a male victim there in critical condition. That 17-year-old taken to the hospital is listed in stable condition at this hour. They are still investigating the shooting, so if you have any information, please call Crime Stoppers. There's no word exactly where in or outside of this apartment complex the shooting took place. We had another shooting from overnight. We'll detail that one coming up as well. But right now on your Friday, we got to get a check of our forecast. If you're heading out early this morning or waking up, we do have some rain showers right here in the downtown area, Todd. And yes, we see that far to the north in your map. It looks like maybe some snow flurries out there.
Yeah, you know, there is some snow up to the north, but not only do you see the snow, but when you look to the side of my temperature map here, you notice that the temperatures are still all above freezing, so that's good. The snow's falling, it's hitting the ground, it's just melting away. There could eventually be some accumulation on mainly grassy areas in the north, but the big shock to the system, at least, is that here we are on what is now April 17, and we're still talking about snow across parts of the area. There are winter weather advisories that are posted across the northern portion of the state. It includes the Peru area over towards the Monticello area. It does not include Kokomo, but you'll see a little bit of snow mixed in to the south. It's basically just going to be all rain. No threat of snow in Indianapolis or points to the south. With that said, though, Lauren, it is not going to be a very pleasant day. It's going to be wet. It's going to be windy. It's going to be cold, but there is some improvement heading our way. More on that coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. We do want to get to our other top stories of the day, and that includes the latest on the coronavirus here in the state of Indiana. Again, we always get these updated numbers now around the lunch hour here from the state health department. And so as of yesterday, we know that there are 600 new cases reported. More than 9,500 people have tested positive for COVID-19 in Indiana so far. 51,000 people have been tested, though, and we know we're up to 477 deaths in our state. We're also taking a look at the number of beds, just in ICU beds and ventilators, so that you know what our state's capacity is and how we're doing on that. We can tell you 45% of the ICU beds are still available, as well as 46% of the ventilators are still available. So that is a little bit of a positive news on this Friday. We do want to talk about how to reopen the state. This is a topic on a lot of minds, especially business owners and employees here. And so Governor Holcomb is detailing how he thinks we could reopen the state and how he's working with other states around the Midwest to make this kind of a regional effort. So we'll have that coming up here, plus news, weather, and traffic on Good Morning Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Without the community's help, we're not going to be able to solve crimes. We're not going to be able to solve things. We need everybody's help. We have to work together on this.
Now at 4:30 here on Good Morning Indiana, a plea for help as police investigate a shooting in downtown Indianapolis. Plus, Governor Holcomb is giving more insight on when the state could be back open for business. Working for you, details on his plan to reopen our economy. And President Trump is laying out his own timeline to get the U.S. economy restarted. This morning, we're breaking down his three-phase plan. But before we get to those top stories this morning, I want to thank you for joining us on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey. Todd Clausen is joining me from his home today as we're continuing to practice that social distancing. And Todd, not liking the forecast or what's coming down right now from the skies or what's behind you, but we're looking forward to seeing what you have for us.
All right, you don't want to be here in the middle. Talk about snow on Storm Team 6 radar, but that's what we have this morning, unfortunately, across the area. Now, with that said, not a lot of this is reaching the ground as of yet. We are just going to be dealing with some scattered showers across parts of the area. And you can see this moving through northern locations. So Indianapolis southward, we're just going to be dealing with plain old rain, but there's a lot of rain that's still off to our west. This is going to be coming through at times throughout the entire day. So it's wet today, it's windy today, it's chilly. But for those of you in northern locations, we're talking about Peru to the north. We are talking about a winter weather advisory advisory that is in place. But you see the temperatures as of now are still all above freezing. So as the snow falls, it's basically going to just melt away. But eventually there could be some minor accumulation up to an inch or a little bit more on grassy areas. Again, that is just in northern locations. It's all rain to the south. But this rain will be with us off and on throughout the entire day with high temperatures, Lauren, that'll be topping off only right around 50 degrees.
All right, Todd, thanks for that update. We want to take a look at traffic right now. Again, wet roads out there, really no matter where you are, so use caution. Here's a look in the downtown area, I-65 and I-70 at the north split. You can see traffic here is very quiet. Keep in mind, we still have that eastbound I-70 closure here between the downtown area and I-465 on the east side. That is going to last all through today, all over your weekend, and all the way until mid-May. So keep that in mind. You'll need to take a detour. Also, several of the on-ramps from downtown getting onto the interstate here, even if you're trying to get on 65, may be blocked. So keep that in mind for your commute. New from overnight, a 17-year-old is recovering after being shot at an apartment complex on the city's west side. This happened around 11 o'clock last night on the 5900 block of Beachview Drive that's near 10th Street. Officers say they found the male victim in critical condition when they arrived at the scene. Right now, it's unclear if the shooting happened inside an apartment or in a courtyard. Officers tell us the victim was transported to the hospital with a gunshot wound to his lower abdomen. He's currently listed as stable. An incident is under investigation at this hour. Also overnight, a woman found shot downtown. This happened around 10:15 near North Delaware and Michigan Streets. Officers on the scene tell us the woman was found in a vehicle with gunshot wounds. She was transported to the hospital where she remains in critical condition. We're told the shooting happened in a residential area, so police are asking anyone with any information to please come forward.
Yeah, this is one of your neighbors. This is people that live here, so please, we ask that you come forward. Without the community's help, we're not going to be able to solve crimes. We're not going to be able to solve things. We need everybody's help. We have to work together on this.
As always, if you have any information about either shooting, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS. You can leave information anonymously. I want to turn now to the latest on the COVID-19 outbreak here in the state of Indiana. The State Department of Health is reporting more than 600 new cases of the virus. The latest numbers show that more than 9,500 Hoosiers have tested positive for the coronavirus. More than 51,000 people have been tested. So far, 477 people have died from the virus. Taking a look at how well the state's hospitals are prepared for a surge in cases now. According to the Department of Health, nearly 45% of the intensive care unit beds in Indiana are still available. About 76% of the state's ventilators are still available as of today. Now to global numbers. Well over 2 million positive cases have been reported. Worldwide, nearly 650,000 of those are in the United States. More than 140,000 deaths are now blamed on COVID-19 globally. About 31,000 of those are in the United States. But we always want to leave you with some positive news, of course. We can tell you nearly 55,000 Americans have recovered. President Trump has laid out his own three-phase plan to reopen the U.S. economy. During Thursday's task force briefing, the president backtracked on earlier comments, now saying it would be up to the governors to decide how to restart the economies in their own states. ABC's Alex Perche is in Washington right now with more.
President Trump laying out his blueprint to reopen the country.
America wants to be open, and Americans want to be open.
His guidelines call for a phased approach, though he says it'll be up to governors to decide when to lift restrictions. States would enter phase 1 after they see a 2-week decline in the number of people with COVID symptoms and in the percentage of people testing positive for the virus. And once a state can check those boxes, people would still be advised to maintain social distancing and avoid socializing in groups of more than 10, but businesses could look at ways to slowly return to work. If states are able to go 2 weeks without a rebound of COVID cases, they can move to phase 2, where you could see some places like restaurants, movie theaters, and bars reopen with social distancing protocols. The president, hopeful parts of the country could reopen by month's end.
I think 29 states are in that ball game.
Ohio's governor believes his state can be one of them.
And I'm an optimist. We can do this.
Ohio, part of a new coalition of 7 Midwestern states working together on a plan to reopen. 7 states on the East Coast and 3 states on the West Coast forging similar alliances. Though some, like New York, have already extended their shutdowns until at least May 15th. Governors and health officials alike agree the key to the future is testing and tracking the contacts of people who are infected to prevent further spread. Dr. Deborah Burks on CNN.
There is no disease where we test 140 million workers on a weekly basis. CDC already has about 500 plus people on the ground in many of the states.
The big fear, a potential second spike in some states.
I mean, let's face it, this is uncharted water. There may be some setbacks that we may have to pull back a little and then go forward.
And while testing is key, tracking the spread is just as important. In Salt Lake City, the health department there says it has successfully tracked 85% of the cases in that community. The state of Massachusetts also has an ambitious tracing program in the works. Alex Perche, ABC News, Washington.
Back here at home at 4:37, Governor Holcomb is saying that he's keeping an eye on those COVID-19 numbers to help him and other state leaders decide how and when to start easing restrictions in Indiana. The governor says he's looking at early May to start reopening the state's economy, but did not give an exact date yet. He also said Indiana is part of that Midwest coalition with the goal of planning a coordinated regional reopening approach.
I'm not putting a May 1 date out there, or May 2, or May 7, or May 8, but we are thinking early May. You see this, if the trends continue and we continue to make progress, we're all thinking about that smart restart opening of our states in a very gradual, methodical way if the numbers continue to hold and the trends continue to hold.
The bipartisan alliance of states includes Indiana, Ohio, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, Michigan, and Kentucky. Governors in each state note that while this is a coordinated effort, reopenings will not happen all at once. As the country waits to get the economy restarted, the toll on American families is growing. The latest unemployment numbers show another 5.2 million Americans are out of work. Over the past month, 22 million people filed for unemployment. And early yesterday morning, the Small Business Administration shut down the Paycheck Protection Program because it ran out of money. The program loaned $311 billion, processing 14 years worth of loans in less than 14 days. The White House is now asking Congress for another $250 billion for the program, but the head of the Small Business Administration says more than that will be needed. RTV6 is working for you, keeping track of everything you need to know about how the coronavirus pandemic is affecting Hoosiers and our nation. You can find everything you need to know on our website, theindychannel.com/coronavirus. That includes information and resources from the Health Department, the Department of Workforce Development, and much more.
April 9th of 2020 may have been your end of watch over the city, but you'll forever be watching over your family and closest friends.
Gone but not forgotten, how the memory of fallen IMPD officer Leath is being honored. Plus, U.S. officials looking into a conspiracy theory that the novel coronavirus started in a Chinese lab. After the break, how Chinese authorities are responding to those claims. Todd.
And Lauren, we're dealing with rain and snow making its way through central Indiana here this morning. There could be some minor snow accumulation in northern locations. We'll talk about that and look ahead to your weekend forecast as well, which finally shows some improvement in this big chill and the return of the sunshine. We'll detail the snow and the weekend coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 4:39. Stay with us. We're back in just a couple minutes.
Weekdays from 4:30 to 7.
IMPD Patrolman Leath, Baker 231, was shot and killed in the line of duty while responding to domestic disturbance located at 1803 Edinburgh Square in Indianapolis. Baker 231 selflessly answered the ultimate call at sacrifice, serving the city of Indianapolis and its citizens. Baker 231 Officer Leath and her family will always be remembered in our prayers. Baker 231 Patrolman Leath is now 1042 for the last time. May she rest in peace.
That was the end of watch call for 24-year-old IMPD officer Leath, who was laid to rest yesterday. Officer Leath was shot and killed last Thursday while responding to a domestic disturbance call. Yesterday, the city came together to say a final farewell to Officer Leath. Now, because of social distancing requirements during the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, a service was held at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, followed by a small funeral at Crown Hill Cemetery. But thousands watched this live feed of the services, with dozens of her brothers and sisters in law enforcement surrounding her at this iconic track. It was a funeral unlike anything the city has seen, but those who knew Breanne say the day matched how unique she was herself. Officer Lee's kindness touched lives in ways she never even knew. People close to her and her son said that the city pushed her to be an amazing officer. Yesterday, we caught up with one mourner who lined up early to pay his respects at the Motor Speedway. He told us that his niece worked with Officer Leath and has heard nothing but nice things about her, and he wanted to share this message.
Everybody should respect law enforcement. They put their lives on the line every day for us, and I don't think a lot of people appreciate what they go through and what they do. And I would just say, you know, every time you see a law enforcement officer, buy them some coffee or just tell them thank you.
Well, we found countless people in our community sharing stories about how willing Officer Leath was to give back and make things better. She sounds just like the most incredible woman. You can find more of these stories right now at theindychannel.com. Also, a donation fund is set up to assist with Officer Leath's family with the funeral and the burial arrangements and to provide a trust for her young son. The Central Indiana Police Foundation is handling the fundraiser. IMPD is asking people to be careful, though, when making donations. The department says it is aware of fundraisers that have been set up without the consent of the Leath family. You can find a link to the Police Foundation Fund. It's at our website, theindychannel.com. Time now is 4:45. New this morning, officials in Wuhan, China have raised the death toll from the coronavirus by 50%. Authorities now say that 3,869 people died from the virus. The city is believed to be ground zero of the worldwide COVID-19 outbreak. In a statement released this morning, city officials say the cases were, quote, mistakenly reported or missed entirely. The change also pushes the nationwide death toll up by nearly 39% to more than 4,600. Meanwhile, this morning, U.S. authorities are looking into the claims that the novel coronavirus started in a Chinese lab. One theory is that someone working in the lab could have gotten infected, or the virus itself could have gotten out by accident. Defense Secretary Mark Esper says it's still too early to draw any conclusions, and this is one of the many theories being investigated right now. A Chinese spokesperson responded to the claims, saying the virus came from a market in Wuhan. That's the narrative most health experts agree on at this time. It may not feel like this morning, but scientists say 2020 is the second warmest year on record so far, and by December it could become the hottest year ever. The most recent temperature update from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration shows a continuation of high temperatures. According to NOAA, March was the 423rd consecutive month with above average temperatures for the 20th century. The agency says there is a 75% chance that 2020 will be the hottest year scientists have recorded ever. And Todd, I don't even want to hear about it being the hottest spring on a day like today when we have snow in northern Indiana.
You know, right here they are talking about all these warm temperatures, and you're scratching your head going, man, it's been pretty darn chilly this week. And you're right, Lauren. We are talking about snow here just in northern locations, though. That is the good news. And it's not going to accumulate a whole lot, but nonetheless, we are in the middle of May and talking about some snow. For most of us, not only this morning, but throughout the entire day, this is just going to be purely a rain event. And we're still toggling in northern locations, as you see on Storm Team 6 radar, between the rain and the snow, but there's a lot more precipitation still off to our west. This is just the initial round that's making its way into the area, and you can see that off to our west. The heaviest of the precipitation really stretches from just north of St. Louis back towards the Kansas City area, but all this is going to be heading our way throughout the day today. Now, the further north you are, the better chance you'll have of seeing snow, but we're talking about far northern locations here in our viewing area or where we broadcast, and that's Peru up towards Monticello, Flora, and the Delphi area. So throughout the day today, our snowfall totals are probably going to only be just under an inch in many locations. Once you get to Peru and Monticello, we could see about 2 inches, maybe a little bit more. But keep in mind, this is mainly going to impact grassy areas, and with temperatures that are going to be hovering at or just above freezing, we are going to see a lot of this melt away. So when you hear 3 inches, don't think of the middle of winter and walking out to 3 inches of snow. It's going to end up measuring that probably in some locations, but as it melts, it's going to be hard to see that all at one time. Temperatures still to the north, 39 in Peru, it's 39 in Indianapolis, 42 in Bloomington, so everybody's still well above freezing. And throughout the day today, especially in the metro area, we're looking at temperatures that are going to be in the mid to upper 40s, with the rain becoming more steady as we go throughout the day. And I'll note note that it's going to be windy as well. So honestly, it's just not a very pleasant day for us. Tomorrow morning, we're down below freezing. Freeze warnings go into effect once again. And then for the weekend, Saturday is a good day. It starts off cold, but we get up to 56. We have lots of sunshine. Sunday, we're up to 60 degrees with a few spotty showers. And then, Lauren, for much of next week, temperatures will be running above normal in the 60s. The exception on Monday, 58, but it's going to be a dry and sunny day. So let's just get through today. It's not going to be the best day of weather for us across the area, but we do have brighter and warmer days that are ahead.
All right, Todd, we can do it. Looking forward to this weekend. Let's take a look right now, though, at your commute as you're heading out the door on this Friday. Here's a look right now on the south side, I-465. This is at the East Street exit, US 31. You can see traffic down this way is still pretty quiet this morning. We'll let you know if there are any crashes or delays you need to watch out for. Keep in mind as you're driving on the interstates, though, on the south side today and throughout the weekend, we do have that construction at I-65 and Keystone Avenue that is blocking a few lanes. Something new is coming to Facebook. Instead of just giving a smiley face or thumbs up to react on social media, there's a new care emoji. The icon is a smiley face hugging a heart. Facebook says it's meant to show caring and solidarity when commenting on a post, video, or message during the coronavirus crisis. Users will be able to toggle through a vibrating heart for a regular heart if it just doesn't feel like enough. The new features will roll out today. Instagram also has a new feature, and it's geared towards helping the restaurant industry during the COVID-19 pandemic. There's now buttons and stickers to make it easier for people to support local restaurants and bars. Businesses can add those stickers to their Instagram stories and profiles, and followers can then click on them to buy gift cards or place orders or donate. People can also reshare the stickers and the buttons on their own Instagram stories to let others know how to help. Well, Saturday Night Live star Michael Che is honoring his late grandmother by paying 1 month's rent for all the people in her former apartment building. That's 160 units. Che's grandmother died after contracting the coronavirus. The SNL star said that he was shocked to learn that public housing residents are still expected to pay rent with so many out of work. Che's grandmother moved out of the building in the 90s, but the star says he wanted to honor her memory. If you're looking for a little bit of entertainment this weekend and a way to give back, you can tune into the One World Together at Home concert. Money raised from the event will go to help with the COVID-19 relief efforts. Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Colbert will host this special from their respective homes. Musical acts include Lady Gaga, Stevie Wonder, Billie Eilish, Paul McCartney, Elton John, Lizzo, and much more. You can watch the concert Saturday night. It's at 8 p.m. right here on RTV6. It will also be broadcast on most streaming services. The class of 2020 is missing an iconic rite of passage, prom. But now one star is stepping up to change all of that. Coming up, the details on this virtual event that seniors will not want to miss. And coming up all new at 5, Butler University has announced plans to hold a formal commencement. We'll have the details just after the break. Stick around.
RTV6 is working for you.
Welcome back. For the past few weeks, we told you about actor John Krasinski's mission to bring good news to the world during the coronavirus pandemic. And tonight, he's focusing on the efforts for the class of 2020. The Office stars teaming up with a surprise celebrity DJ to host a virtual prom. Krasinski sent out the invitation in a TikTok video. The actor jokes about how he wants to look for prom versus how he's probably going to appear. The event is named after his new web series, Some Good News. The SGN prom will be streamed on YouTube live starting at 8 o'clock tonight. So tell the kids that you know. That'll be a lot of fun. All right, we got to get a check of our forecast right now with Todd. Todd, we talk about prom and spring. We don't expect snow in our forecast, but that's the case today.
No, I tell you what, if you are taking prom pictures or would be prom pictures today, it is going to be chilly, not a great day. It's only 49. It's going to be wet and it's going to be windy. And for some of you to the north, you're going to be dealing with some snow showers as well and some minor accumulation once you get far to the north. The weekend's much better. It's warmer. Tomorrow, 56, which is still below normal, but it's sunny, so that's the good news. Up to 60 on Sunday with a few spotty showers, but not a washout, a high of 60, and then finally back to average temperatures by the middle of next week. The time's 4:57. This is Good Morning Indiana that you're watching. We're back in just a couple of minutes. Stay with us. We'll see you in a few.